Hello, and welcome back to the Inner Compass podcast. Before we dive in, I want to take a few moments and welcome anyone who is joining us for the first time. Hi, my name is Lori Lindsay, and I'm passionate about helping women in the second half of their life reconnect with themselves. If you spent years taking care of everyone else, questioning your inner voice, feeling overwhelmed by the noise of your life, or wondering, when did I stop trusting myself? You're in the right place. The Inner Compass podcast is where science meets spirituality. And each month, we explore research about the nervous system, the heart, emotional well-being, and the mind, while also honoring the wisdom that lives within each of us. Because I don't believe you need another expert telling you who you should be. I believe you already carry deep wisdom inside of you. Sometimes you simply need the space, the tools, and the support to hear it again. And that's what this community is about. Not creating dependency, but helping you regulate your nervous system, trust your intuition, and live from your own inner compass. So wherever you're joining us from today, I'm so glad you're here. Let's begin. So throughout the month of July, we've been exploring the science of the heart. And we've talked about the nervous system, appreciation, intuition, emotional resonance, and the quiet wisdom that becomes available when we finally slow down. But this episode, it's not going to be a summary. It's a reflection. Because information only changes our lives when we take time to integrate it. So one of the biggest themes that kept showing up throughout the month of July was this: our body often knows before our mind does. Long before we consciously understand what's happening, our nervous system is already gathering information. Your heart is responding, your breathing changes, your muscles tighten or soften, your body notices patterns before your thinking mind has a chance to explain them. That's why you've probably experienced moments like these, where you walk into a room and instantly feel uncomfortable. Or you meet someone for the first time and immediately feel at ease. You can't explain why, but something inside of you already knows. For many of us, we've been taught to ignore those signals. We've learned to talk ourselves out of them, to be polite, to not overreact, to be told we're too sensitive. I don't know, have you ever been told that? I know I have. But what if your sensitivity isn't the problem? What if it was information? Throughout this month, we explored how the heart and nervous system are constantly communicating with the rest of our body. Your body isn't trying to confuse you, it's trying to protect you. It's trying to guide you. The invitation isn't to believe every feeling without question. The invitation is to simply notice, to become curious, to ask yourself, what is my body telling me right now? Because before your mind creates a story, your body has already noticed the truth. Perhaps the most important lesson from this entire series was, clarity rarely comes through force. It comes through regulation. Many of us have been taught that if we just think harder, analyze longer, or keep searching for the perfect answer, eventually we'll find clarity. But that isn't how our brains and body work. When we're obsessed or stressed, our nervous system shifts into protection. Our attention narrows, our thinking becomes reactive. We become more focused on surviving than on seeing clarity. It's difficult to hear your intuition when your body believes you're in danger. But something remarkable happens when we begin to regulate. Our breath slows. Our heart rhythm becomes more coherent. The nervous system recognizes that we are safe. And when safety returns, our perspective begins to widen. We notice possibilities we could not see before. We become less reactive and more responsive. This isn't about making perfect decisions, it's about creating the internal conditions where wisdom has room to emerge. Sometimes the greatest breakthrough doesn't happen because you found a new answer. Sometimes it happens because you finally became quiet enough to hear the answer that was always there. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is take one slow, intentional breath. One of my favorite discoveries during this series was revisiting the research on appreciation. Not because appreciation magically makes life easier, and certainly not because it asks us to ignore pain. Life is still going to be life. People will still disappoint us. Loss will still happen. Hard conversations won't disappear. But appreciation changes the state from which we meet those moments. That's what fascinates me. When we intentionally pause to appreciate something, our body responds. Our breathing naturally slows. Our heart rhythm becomes more coherent. Our nervous system receives the message that, in this moment, we are safe. And from that place, everything begins to shift. We think more clearly. We become less reactive. We notice possibilities instead of only problems. We listen more deeply. We respond instead of simply reacting. Our relationships begin to change because we're showing up differently. Not because other people suddenly change, but because we did. One of the beautiful lessons I took away this month is that appreciation isn't something we wait to feel. It's something we choose to practice. Sometimes it's appreciating a sunrise. Sometimes it's appreciating a conversation. Sometimes it's simply appreciating our next breath. And in those small moments, repeated over and over, begin to change the way we experience our lives. Appreciation doesn't remove life's storms, but it helps us become the kind of person who can walk through them with greater peace, greater resilience, and a heart that's open enough to keep seeing the beauty along the way. As I prepared for the reflection episode, I asked myself, what surprised me the most this month? I learned far more than I expected. 2 months ago, I had never heard of the Heart Math Institute. I had spent years teaching intuition, helping women reconnect with themselves, trusting that their bodies carry wisdom, but I didn't realize just how much science now supports what many of us have sensed all along. One of the biggest discoveries for me was learning about appreciation, not simply a nice emotion, but as something that actually changes our physiology. Researchers have found that when we intentionally practice appreciation, our heart rhythm becomes more coherent, our nervous system begins to settle, our bodies literally respond. I thought that was fascinating, but then something happened that made it personal. Twice this month, I practiced appreciation before going into a doctor's appointment. Nothing complicated. I spent a few quiet moments thinking about people and experiences that I genuinely appreciated. When the nurse checked my heart rate, I couldn't believe the numbers. Normally, my resting heart rate is somewhere in the 90s. But for both of these appointments, it was in the 60s. That wasn't just interesting research anymore. I experienced it in my own body. And that changed something for me. The second discovery that completely amazed me was learning about the heart's electromagnetic field. For years, many spiritual traditions have spoken about an aura, an energy that surrounds us. Heart math researchers describe it differently. They measure an electromagnetic field generated by the heart, not as a belief, but as something that can actually be detected with scientific instruments. And I remember sitting there thinking, wait, they can actually measure this now? That moment reminded me of something I'd always hoped for. Sometimes science doesn't replace our intuition. Sometimes it helps us explain it. And maybe that's the biggest takeaway from the entire month. The more I learned, the more convinced I became that my work was never really about giving people answers. It was about helping them become quiet enough, regulated enough, and connected enough to hear their wisdom that they carry inside of them. People don't need someone to rescue them. They need someone to remind them of how to trust themselves again. That has always been the heart of the inner compass. And after everything else I've learned this month, I believe that even more deeply. One of the greatest gifts this month wasn't something I learned. It was watching a community begin to grow. Each week, more people joined us. More people subscribed to the newsletter. More people showed up for Meditation Monday. More joined us for True North Tuesday Live. More listened to this podcast. And at first glance, those just might look like numbers, but to me, they represent people, women choosing to slow down, to ask deeper questions, to reconnect with themselves, and perhaps, more importantly, to realize that they don't have to do this alone. One of my favorite moments happened our week that we were studying appreciation. One member of our sisterhood decided she wanted to hold herself accountable, and every day she began posting something she appreciated in our group text. She wasn't asked to do this, she simply felt inspired. And then something beautiful happened. Another woman joined in. Some of us posted every day, some posted a few times a week, but for nearly 3 weeks now, our community has been intentionally looking for moments of appreciation. That may seem like a small thing, but I don't think it is. Because every time we choose appreciation, we practice everything we have been talking about this month. We're teaching our brains to notice the good. We're helping our nervous system settle. We're reminding one another that beauty still exists, even on difficult days. That's what a healthy community does. It doesn't rescue us, it walks beside us. It reminds us of who we are when we've temporarily forgotten. To everyone who has watched, commented, shared a story, asked a question, or simply listened quietly each week, thank you. You are helping build something much bigger than a podcast. You're helping create a sisterhood, a place where women can slow down, trust themselves, and discover that they're never walking this journey alone. And if you're listening today and wondering, how do I become a part of this great community? Well, it all begins with one simple step. Visit my website and subscribe to the newsletter. That's where it all begins. And each week you'll receive a compass teaching to reflect on. You'll be invited to Meditation Monday. You will be part of the conversation on True North Tuesday Live. And then we will gather here on the podcast to go even deeper. Wherever you are on your journey, there is a place for you here. One of the things I love about science is that every discovery opens the door to another question. The more we learn, the more we realize there is still so much we don't understand. This month we explored the remarkable intelligence of the heart. We talked about heart coherence, the nervous system, appreciation, and the heart's electromagnetic field. Those discoveries answered some questions, but they also sparked many new ones. For example, how much does our emotional state influence the people around us? If our heart generates a measurable electromagnetic field, what role does that play in human connection? Why do we sometimes sense that something is wrong before we have a logical explanation? Why does being in the presence of a calm person help us feel calmer ourselves? Can learning to regulate our own nervous system help create calmer families, stronger relationships, and healthier communities? How much of what we call intuition is our body recognizing patterns before our conscious mind catches up? And perhaps my favorite question, what else is possible that science simply hasn't learned how to measure yet? That's where I think science and spirituality become beautiful partners. Science gives us evidence, spirituality gives us wonder. Science asks, how can we measure this? And spirituality asks, what does this mean? Neither one has all the answers. And maybe that's exactly how it should be, because curiosity keeps us learning. Wonder keeps us humble. And together, they invite us to keep exploring. Perhaps the most honest thing anyone can say is, we're still learning. So next month, our journey continues. And if the heart creates rhythm, what happens when rhythm meets sound? We'll begin exploring frequency, vibration, resonance, sound healing, and I'm going to introduce you to something that's becoming an exciting part of my own work, Vibroacoustic Therapy. And we're going to explore what the current research tells us and what we still don't know, and how much sound can support nervous system regulation and overall well-being. I can't wait to begin that conversation with you. So as we finish this month together, I'd like to leave you with 3 questions. What changed for you this month, in the month of July? What surprised me? And what am I curious about next? So take those questions with you this week. You may be surprised by what your heart has to say. Thank you for spending this month with me. Whether you've listened to one episode or every single episode, I'm so grateful you're here. Until next time, keep listening, keep trusting, and keep remembering. Awaken, remember, rise.